Hey, Christ Place leaders, you know what we're all about? Discipling one another
to reach and raise the next generation to live out God's truth.
Some people make fun of us for opening our videos that way, but we love it. It's all right. Hey, listen, we are continuing our video series, getting back to the basics. We're learning how to block and tackle. That's what we're doing, but it is in the form of how we lead our group. So this week we want to talk to you about how do I get my people talking? So when I'm leading a group, if I'm a group leader, how do I know that my people are going to talk? Because I want to foster community. I want to facilitate discussion. I don't want to just sit there and lecture them and have this knowledge transfer. I want us to do this thing collectively and together. And so we got a couple of basic ways we want to share with you on how to get your people talking. So Luke, what's number one?
The first one is you got to know your people. It's really important. Obviously, it seems tedious. It seems probably like it should be a given. But if you're not in the lives of your people, they're not going to talk about their life.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to know what questions are going to resonate with them and which ones are not. So, if I am going to sit down and write a lesson, or if I'm going to use a sermon-based lesson, then I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared ahead of time. And I know my people, and I'm like, ooh, that one's really going to hit really well. Or I might even skip over a few or rephrase it a different way because it's not going to resonate with my people.
Because if it doesn't click, then that's one of those things that's going to keep your group from talking and connecting really well in discussion.
Yeah, you're right. And another thing that we have suggested for you is to ask an icebreaker. Listen, one of the best ways, whenever somebody sits down to be in your group and you're just talking to them and you're wanting to like go ahead and get them talking about the lesson or whatever, some of the best ways that I've found to get people talking is to do a good, solid icebreaker. We got a couple of ones that we suggest on the sermon-based lesson. So if you're one of those leaders that teaches a sermon-based lesson every week, we give you a couple of icebreakers. A lot of times they're
very general.
Yeah, but you can contour those. You can change them to be something that is specifically applicable to your group. And so like we've done some in our group where I have people go around and I get them to tell how them and their spouse met. Or another one that we've used before is tell us the job that you do, or maybe a job that you've had before, and then we're going to come up with different ideas or suggestions.
Like what they would be doing?
Like another job that they would do. So, my favorite one is always like tell somebody they're going to be a dog walker or something. They're like, really? Or a private investigator. You always have those people in your group who are like, he would be a mob hitman. That's what we actually have one of those guys in our class.
In that same question, I actually told one of the people in our group that they would be a mother of like an octomom.
Ah, that's funny.
And she was glad. So I was saved by that one.
I was about to say that one could have.
It could have been bad.
That could have been.
It could have been bad.
Yeah.
But no, one that we've had in our group, because it was one that we actually changed in a week, because it kind of goes back to our first point where you got to know your people. And so I knew that the question that week wouldn't necessarily connect as much. And so we talked about the most unique thing that each person in our group felt like that they had done.
I remember that.
And it was in our home group, one of our earlier weeks that we had met. And so it really kind of bonded. And as a group, we learned a unique thing about each person in the group, in our first couple of weeks. And it really helped with the community there.
Yeah, and a lot of times you will find out that somebody is a daredevil and they're married to someone who is not a daredevil.
That's
happened
conservative.
Several times when we've asked that question. And then the last thing that we would suggest is that if you're teaching the sermon-based lesson, we always try to have that posted by lunchtime on Friday before the sermon. So, sermon's on Sunday morning. We always have it posted the Friday before by lunchtime. So we definitely ask you and really encourage you to print that out, or at least download it, look at it beforehand.
Underline, study.
And read those questions, read the content in there. We don't want you to reteach or repreach the sermon. We want you to use that as a tool to walk people through exactly what
you're going to be discussing.
The big idea and all of that. And if you read the questions ahead of time, you'll be able to see, okay, this question's not going to hit too well, and this question's going to be really good, or my people are really going to talk through this one. And listen, if they spend the bulk of the time on one question,
that's fine.
That's a win. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not about getting through every question. It's not about making sure that you cover everything that we have on that sheet. We provide a lot of additional questions for you, so that way you can use it with your people. So use that this week. Take those three things. First of all, learn your people, know your people, know what's going to resonate with them. The second one is ask
an icebreaker. Do an icebreaker.
You got to ask good icebreakers. You can't say that too fast. It's going to go bad. And then the third thing is read the sermon-based lesson ahead of time. Be prepared before you get to the sermon. So that way, by the time you get to your group time, it's going to be really easy.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Love your people this week, and we'll see you next week for the third episode of our blocking and tackling. Back to the basics.
Whatever we're calling it. We can't wait to see you this week.